Good morning, people. So I've got a couple of videos planned for today, and I was looking through all of my responses, all my various stuff to my last video about Poland. I've been reluctant to do another video on the subject for a couple of reasons, one of which is I got quite a lot of hits on the first one. And the last thing I want people to do is think that, oh, he's just talking about it because it's getting him lots of hits and it's getting him a handful of subs. No. I'm not that kind of person. In fact, what I was planning to do today was Labour, because I think the Labour Party in the UK is actually really freaking scary right now. But one of the guys who's been commenting on my videos, and there has been a lot, and I just want to say to anybody that does see this, that's been commenting on my other videos, I actually really appreciate it. It's been really nice. There's been people that have argued with me, people that have pointed out different aspects that I haven't considered, but everybody has been polite, everybody has put their views across, and annoyingly but also good is they have been providing links to other material. So they haven't just been going, here is what is wrong, they have been going, here is the information and the link for you to follow up, which I haven't been able to do as well as I could, because I had a busy week and I haven't had much time, and yesterday I just needed to zone out. But I was looking at the videos, and I seen this one, Yaroslav Kaczynski, which please comment on my pronunciation because it's probably shit. This is, as it says up top there, it's a 2015 speech. Now the last one I done on Beta, the Prime Minister President, so I'm not sure quite what the title is. It was a very fuck the EU, tub thumping kind of speech. But I've watched this one through, about 8 minutes into it, because I want to get on and do the recording, because I don't think there's going to be any weird surprises in here. But what come across is it was a much more thoughtful piece, and probably it's more thoughtful because it's 2015. And yeah, I just want to go for it, because this is going out to a lot of Polish people are looking at this and going, thank God somebody's talking about this, even though Black Pigeon started talking about this now, dickhead. I like Black Pigeon, but seriously, that's annoying. But yeah, no, please just bear with me while I go through this one. And one of the things I would like to say before I start and hit play is, I'm not going to just be jumping in every 10 seconds. There might be some big long pauses while, he says what he says, because it is subtitled. Deal with it. And if it does look like I'm going to start jumping on like, oh yeah, let's like start worshipping Poland because everything's perfect over there and all that kind of stuff and looking like a shell, tell me. I don't want to be one of those people because I despise them as much as everyone else. So without further ado, let's hit play.
Wysoka Izbo, nie ukrywam, że znalazłem się w trudnej sytuacji, bo wypowiedzi, które tutaj uważnie wysłuchałem, są cokolwiek sprzeczne. Z jednej strony deklaracje pani premier, a także pana przewodniczącego, z filozofii politycznej w tym ostatnim wypadku, a z drugiej strony różnego rodzaju zapowiedzi budowy twierdzy Europa i twierdzy Polska. Nie wiem, jak to ze sobą pogodzić, ale w każdym razie dobrze, żeby sam obóz rządzący wiedział, o co w gruncie rzeczy chodzi. Bo tak naprawdę, Wysoka Izbo, ważne jest pytanie następujące. Czy mianowicie rząd ma prawo pod obcym naciskiem, zewnętrznym naciskiem i bez wyraźnie wyrażonej zgody narodu.
This was one of the first things that really stood out to me. Does the government, I think it's been translated automatically, has the right under external pressure and without a clear consent of the nation to decide on matters that with a great level of probability might have a negative effect on our lives. Now, It's funny. It's such a obvious question. And he's cutting straight to the chase, because I actually think that for a long time what we've seen across Europe is a lot of our problems, regardless of who you like, who you hate, is actually because politicians are not asking this question. They're making decisions that will inflict great change upon the host populations, and I do not think that they're adequately considering whether they even have the right to do this. In Great Britain, a perfect example is this is going to lose me some subs, but I don't care. We've had huge amounts of Eastern European immigration. Now, as I've said before, I quite like Eastern Europeans. I disagree with mass migration, but we were never given a choice in this matter. We were never given an option on this, and it has had negative consequences, actually, for the immigrant groups as well. No one over here is asking the very fundamental question that Yaroslav is. Please tell me I'm pronouncing that right. But 10 out of 10, and you know, as soon as I watched this bit earlier, I went, I want to do a video on this guy because I like him, and he's got a very nice delivery. Because let's face it, the Polish language, okay, it sounds sexy on women, but on guys, he delivers it in a very nice manner. It's pleasant. I'm not saying he's sexy, but you get what I mean.
Podejmować decyzje, które z wysokim stopniem prawdopodobieństwa mogą mieć negatywny wpływ na nasze życie, na naszą codzienność, na nasze życie publiczne, na naszą przestrzeń publiczną, na naszą realną sferę wolności, wreszcie, co tutaj przecież też podnoszono, na nasze bezpieczeństwo. I chcę powiedzieć jasno, Prawo i Sprawiedliwość uważa, że rząd nie ma prawa do podejmowania takich decyzji. Co więcej, uważa, że podejmowanie tego rodzaju decyzji bez zgody, wyraźnej zgody społeczeństwa, a takiej zgody nie ma, jest łamaniem konstytucji, tak, panie pośle, łamaniem konstytucji, łamaniem zasady suwerenności narodu, a także praw obywatelskich.
Tak, yes. Fantastic. It's funny. Every single thing he said there is so reasonable, intelligent, and fair. Our politicians, certainly in Britain, they would never have the balls to say that. That would be, you would be branded literally Hitler for saying that. Nigel Farage is 10 times more mellow than this guy, and I think this guy is mellow, and Nigel Farage gets made out to be the Antichrist in Britain, so yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't want to say respect, you're telling the truth, but I'm in that horrible point, I'm going, respect, you're right, just for raising these subjects that other people just won't do. I don't know much about Polish politics. But I do know that ultimately your politicians have got bigger balls than ours.
I dlatego nie ma tutaj naszej zgody. Chcę też powiedzieć, że nie chodzi tutaj o przyjęcie tej czy innej liczby cudzoziemców, niezależnie od tego, jacy to są cudzoziemcy. Chodzi o to, że istnieje poważne niebezpieczeństwo, że zostanie uruchomiony proces, który będzie w wielkim skrócie wyglądał mniej więcej tak. Najpierw liczba cudzoziemców gwałtownie się zwiększa, później nie przestrzegają oni, nie chcą przestrzegać, deklarują, że nie będą przestrzegać naszego prawa, naszych obyczajów, a później albo...
Well, what he just said there was one of the most racist things in the world, according to people in Western Europe. But he is also increasing. What he said is bang on the button. You take on, let's just pick on Islam in the UK. They have got marches all over London calling for the integration of Sharia law into our country. he's completely right. The fucking balls on these people try to do that. We come into your country, we get your benefits. We don't really give anything apart from curries and takeaways. And then we want you to adopt our law, our religion, our custom. Woosah. And as he's about to say here, and even then, they will impose their own objectivity, sensibility on their own demands on the public sphere and in different spheres of life. I just want to say something very relevant to this. This is more actually aimed at Eastern European viewers. What they need to look up, if they are not aware, is what happened in Rotherham, England. It was in the north, and it was a long-term grooming gang, which sexually abused about as many young children. Let me stress, children, not young women. That doesn't make it better; it just makes it worse. As like happened in Cologne, and there's many more of these going on. So, you know, imposing their own objectivity and sensibility, well, for these people, the people that they were abusing, pimping out, making profit off it, as well as raping and beating, this was their, in their minds they weren't doing anything wrong. This was their this was their objectivity. It's like, these are not real people, we don't care about them. So I want to hire this politician. And they would do this in a very aggressive and fierce way. Sorry,
swoją wrażliwość i swoje wymogi w przestrzeni publicznej w różnych dziedzinach życia. I to w sposób bardzo agresywny i gwałtowny. Jeżeli ktoś mówi, że to nieprawda, to niech się rozejrzy po Europie. Niech spojrzy choćby na Szwecję. 54 strefy, gdzie obowiązuje szariat i nie ma żadnej kontroli państwa. Obawy przed wywieszaniem flagi szwedzkiej na szkołach, tam jest taki obyczaj, dlatego że na tej fladze jest krzyż.
I just want to say on this one, this is the best example I've seen, and I'm going to mispronounce this as well. Crap languages, the Einsenfall map, or whatever it is, the German flag map showing the terrorist attacks across Europe. It's not been that bad this year, because on one count, last year basically a kid couldn't go to a swimming pool, be it male, female, or transgender or whatever, without getting fucking raped and sodomized, pretty much. I mean, it was freaky. You look at the map and the amount of sexual attacks in swimming pools. It's got to the point they had to ban migrants from swimming pools because they just could not go for a quick swim without getting their rape on. So yeah, I mean, what he's saying there, I mean, this is 2015, and he's identifying these no-go zones. I can talk about no-go zones in Britain. They exist. I can name several. Mainly around London, but there is ones in the north of England as well. This is a serious problem. Anybody that says this is not true, they're wrong. This man is right. He's completely right.
No, nawet okazuje się, że szwedzkim dziewczętom, uczennicom nie bardzo już dzisiaj wolno chodzić w krótkich strojach, bo to też się nie podoba. Co się dzieje we Włoszech? Pozajmowane kościoły, traktowane niekiedy jako toalety. Co się dzieje we Francji? Nieustanna awantura, też wprowadzany szariat. Patrole, które przestrzegają, które pilnują przestrzegania szariatu. To samo w Londynie. Także w najmocniejszych, najtwardszych pod tym względem Niemczech tego rodzaju zjawiska mają miejsce. Czy chcecie Państwo, żeby to pojawiło się także w Polsce? Żebyśmy przestali być gospodarzami we własnym kraju? Czy tego chcecie? Otóż ja chcę jasno powiedzieć, Polacy tego nie...
Here's the funny thing. Therefore I want to say it clearly. Poles don't want it, and so law and justice don't want it too. I find these translations quite funny. But let's be clear, not many people in Europe do want it. The vast majority of Britain do not want this. I would imagine there's probably a hell of a lot of people in Germany who do not want this, and Sweden, and Austria, and Italy, and Spain. There's a lot of people that do not want this. But we don't really have a voice. This is why I think the Polish government is Well, it's not really the Polish government. The more I look into it, it's all of the Visegrad group. I don't particularly agree with everything that comes out of his mouth because he seems to be a bit of an arsehole, but Viktor Orban, he's really been piquing my interest. Viktor seems to be a good old-fashioned nationalist, and he actually doesn't give a fuck what our countries think about it. You know him, he's got something to say, he'll say it. And if that is, fuck off, we're not taking immigrants, he's quite happy to say it. So I like Vic as well.
Nie chcą i nie chce tego Prawo i Sprawiedliwość. Ale mimo jednoznacznego stanowiska naszej formacji politycznej sądzę, że warto rozważyć także argumenty, także te filozoficzne, o których tutaj pan przewodniczący mówił, które są uzasadnieniem odmiennej postawy. Otóż można oczywiście w sposób radykalny traktować zasadę, nie przez wszystkich zresztą uznawaną, o czym pan przewodniczący świetnie wie, współrodzajowości wszystkich ludzi. Tak, można. Tylko w ramach tej zasady w żadnym razie, tej radykalnie uznawanej zasady, radykalnego wyciągania konsekwencji z tej zasady nie da się uzasadnić tego, że jednym się pomaga, a drugim nie. Wtedy musimy się otworzyć totalnie. I to nie tylko na tych, którzy dzisiaj cierpią z powodu wojny. Około 1 miliarda ludzi na świecie cierpi z powodu głodu. Przyjmijmy ich. Niech cała Europa, niech Stany Zjednoczone, niech Japonia, niech wszystkie zamożne państwa, albo choćby względnie dostatnie państwa ich przyjmą. Bo takie są tego konsekwencje, ale te konsekwencje można stosować także wewnętrznie. Przyjmijmy wobec tego do każdej zamożnej albo przynajmniej dostatniej rodziny tych biednych, którzy są choćby w naszym kraju. Takie są konsekwencje tej zasady, jeżeli się w ogóle myśli, panie przewodniczący. Jeżeli się coś rozumie z filozofii.
Boom. Beautiful. The consequences of that kind of thinking are absolutely terrifying. And he identified it back here. I really like this guy. I honestly think, I mean, he could be awful as a politician, but at least on this speech, he is fucking... Look at Sweden. Right now, Sweden has become the rape capital of Europe. Sweden, yes, but also they're having to raise taxes on their indigenous population to make sure that migrants are well served. And here's the thing, how long is this going to be sustainable? How many more can they take? How much more taxes can they raise? They're already very heavily taxed. I mean, Sweden could very well be the first country that we see that actually commits full-blown suicide out of altruism. That's worrying. And here's a funny thing. Just out of curiosity, does anybody think the European Union is going to be happy to take Swedish indigenous white migrants into the other countries? I doubt it. I very much doubt it. You know, it's one of those kind of things where, I mean, a lot of people have been commenting about the whole situation with Ukraine migrants, which I think after the fact that the US and the EU were involved in causing a coup in their country, which then led to Russia invading, which I'm not going to go into that, separate subject, very reluctant to take them, although Poland has been, according to the comments from a lot of people in my comments, Poland has been taking a lot of Ukrainian migrants. I will say one thing. If I had a choice between a bunch of Ukrainians coming over to Britain, fleeing from Ukraine, and a bunch of crazy fucking Somalians who can't read or write and have a penchant for piracy, I'll take those Ukrainians any day of the week, with a smile. That has my support. And I like Ukrainians. They're pretty funny.
Ale oczywiście w tej sytuacji, bo przecież realizacja tej zasady w ten sposób doprowadziłaby do upadku naszej cywilizacji, tej cywilizacji, która właśnie stworzyła wolność, stworzyła współczesną technikę, musimy szukać zasady innej. Zasady, która by moderowała ten radykalizm.
What's he saying here? He's not saying we don't help people, but he's saying we have to moderate this radical, altruist, lefty view. But he's not talking about not helping people. He is very clear. Moderate it. We need to moderate it. It has to, because it's got out of control. Like I said, this is 2015, he said this, and it has only got worse.
Otóż taka zasada istnieje. To jest ordo caritatis, porządek miłosierdzia, porządek miłowania. I w ramach tej zasady najpierw są najbliżsi, rodzina, później naród, później inni. I czy z tej zasady wynika, że nie powinniśmy pomagać? Nie, proszę Państwa, powinniśmy pomóc. Jesteśmy zdecydowanie za tym, żeby pomóc, ale
I just want to, I always like analogies. I remember when I was getting trained in, I can't remember exactly what the course was, but it was part of it. They were talking about saving people who are drowning. And one of the things that, oh, my pet's awake. One of the things that they said was you should never jump into a river to save someone who is drowning, because there's a very high incidence of people, when they're drowning, when somebody goes to save them, if they haven't got like life vests on and all that kind of stuff, they end up killing both of them, because the person who's currently drowning, panicking and dragging the other person down with them. What he's saying is what we were told to do, which is you throw safety aids to them to stop them from drowning. You don't dive in yourself. You pick a path that keeps yourself safe, because you don't help any. It goes from being one person drowning to two people drowning if you don't do it properly. So.
Metodą bezpieczną, czyli finansową. Tu była mowa o tym, że 2,8 miliarda dolarów kosztuje czy właściwie brakuje jeszcze w tej chwili do utrzymania tych obozów, z których mamy w tej chwili ten wielki wypływ ludzi do Europy. Weźmy na siebie tą część zobowiązania, którą powinniśmy wziąć ze względu na poziom naszego udziału w PKB Unii Europejskiej. Nie jest on wysoki i nie będzie to suma olbrzymia, chociaż będzie to suma znacząca. I to będzie rzeczywista solidarność i to będzie droga do rozwiązania tego problemu. Ale jednocześnie, jeżeli patrzymy na ten problem, i to zresztą było tutaj podnoszone, to trzeba zdecydowanie odróżnić uchodźców, którzy rzeczywiście uciekają przed wojną, od emigrantów ekonomicznych. Trzeba ich odróżnić. A kto stworzył tutaj magnes, wielki magnes, potężny magnes społeczny przyciągania emigrantów ekonomicznych? Niemcy. I to jest ich problem. Tu Orban miał rację. Po prostu to jest ich problem.
Exactly what he said. Germany, you fucking caused this. Orban was right in this one. It is simply their problem and not yours. And that applies to all of Europe. I don't know. I'm inclined to think that France holds some responsibility in this one as well. But we're not going to go into that. But yeah, this is Merkel's handiwork. If there's a price that's got to be paid, let it be Merkel. And I don't want to sound ruthless, but fuck it. Never claimed to be a nice guy. If the German people are going to support Merkel, it's their problem as well. They should pay the price. Same as Sweden. Should not be the other countries in Europe. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, all of them, right down, and Poland. It's not your problem. Shouldn't be your problem. Pardon me, lots of coffee. Shouldn't be your problem.
Nie na. My możemy pomóc uchodźcom, ale powtarzam, w sposób bezpieczny dla Polaków. Ale padają tutaj także i inne jeszcze argumenty natury moralnej czy moralno-historycznej. Pierwszy z nich to kolonializm. No, jako żywa Polska w tym nie brała.
Anybody who has a problem with colonialism, go fuck yourself. We didn't do good things, but it was a different world back then. Totally different world. I was talking about this yesterday. Slavery. You know, people talk about the American slave trade and all this kind of bollocks. You know, people in Africa were enslaving the tribe next door before we came along. We didn't create slavery. We were just very good at it. doesn't make us good people, but, you know, it was the fucking 1600s, for God's sake. Things were different back then, and we were the first people to get rid of it. And this is a very interesting one. Look it up. I'm not 100% sure on this one, but there's a reason there isn't any black people in Saudi Arabia, because they had lots of slaves themselves, but they just castrated their slaves.
Drugi argument to polityka niektórych państw europejskich, a skądinąd i Stanów Zjednoczonych na Bliskim Wschodzie w ostatnich latach. To wszystko to wiązało się z rewolucjami, z destabilizacją, która tam...
Totally valid. Poland wasn't involved. Britain, yeah, we had a hand in that shit. And I said that was bullshit myself. We you know, in fact I was arguing last night to retarded o'clock in the morning, so I'm very tired today, with an American socialist. And one of the things I said is, America, and actually I did say as well, later on as well, the EU and the European nations need to keep their fucking nose out of the Middle East. None of our business, nothing to do with us. Although I did say we need to retake Constantinople, but that's a different subject.
Tam nastąpiła. No, Polska w tym także nie uczestniczyła. Jest, Wysoka Izbo, także argument inny, często podnoszony, Juncker go podnosił. To jest argument, który odwołuje się do emigracji Polaków. No tak, rzeczywiście, wielu Polaków wyemigrowało. I w latach ostatnich, i tych nieco bardziej odległych, i w poprzednim wieku, i jeszcze poprzednim wieku. To prawda, tylko, Wysoka Izbo, czy Polacy emigrując narzucali w tych...
No is a simple answer. And I said this in the last video that was connected with Poland. I was working in a place that had 80, I'm pretty sure it was 87% foreign nationals, primarily from Eastern Europe, although there was later waves from places like Romania, you know, and just general Balkan countries, but the vast majority were Polish, with a good dash of Latvian, Lithuanian, and Estonian, but, you know, it's probably, I'd say about 60% Pole-ish. They never... Right, almost all of them spoke a language, not very good, some of them were very good, but most of them it was pretty bad. but hey, I have respect for that. I've tried to learn a little bit of Polish, and I can, you know, I butcher that language, something terrible. So I mean, even this man's name, I struggle to pronounce it. But they don't try to impose their own rules. They have not tried to inflict their way of life. The only thing that I have seen that is a little bit of an issue sometimes, but it's not an issue particularly for me, is a lot of people from Poland I found are they're still quite Christian. And where we have become much more secular in the West, we really don't take any notice of that kind of stuff. So that I have seen quite reasonably larger amounts of things like hostility towards homosexuality and stuff like that. I personally couldn't care less who someone sleeps with at the end of the night, therefore I find their viewpoints to be a little bit strange on it. But they don't force it on people. They will say their piece. They will not harp on. They don't give you shit for not agreeing with them on it. It's their opinion and they're entitled to it. So, but no, they don't terrorise anyone. They don't try to make their own rules. And they do have some pretty good food. Poland, yes. And beer.
W tych miejscach, gdzie byli, gdzie się pojawiali, swoje reguły, czy kogoś terroryzowali? Nie. Ciężko pracowali, z wielką pokorą, często zresztą ta pokora była nadmierna.
Sorry, I keep cutting that now because this is an area I do have a lot of interest in. Not only did they work with great humility and humbly, yeah, you've got some shit ones as well, we all have, but most of them are pretty good. They don't complain. Even if it's a bit of a shit job, they just get on and do it, which, as somebody that does shit jobs, normally working side by side with these people, I like that. I respect it. Even when they're totally pissed up the night before, they can still hold their shit together better in their job than
I chociaż byli tacy, którzy w XIX w szczególności wieku walczyli za naszą i waszą wolność, to naprawdę ta walka tworzy zobowiązania wobec nas, właśnie jako kraju wolności, a nie odwrotnie. I wreszcie jest jeszcze ten argument, który często jest podnoszony. Unia Europejska nam płaci. Otóż są środki europejskie. Otóż, pani marszałek, Wysoka Izbo, za co nam płaci? Za to...
Right, I don't want to look at this bit at the bottom here, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to talk about, because I have a feeling I know what he's going to say. I told you I didn't watch all of this. I only watched 8 minutes in, and so we're way past where I watched previously. Poland is getting money from the European Union. What are they giving in return? Well, I think your nation, if you're still there, I suppose it's your nation even if you're not. Poland has given up something that is quite insane. They've given up their youth. They've given up their children. They have given up almost, not almost every one of them, but the sheer volume of people that have left Poland for a better life between the ages of 20 and 35 is absolutely insane. And I did a video about this a couple of days ago about serfdom in the EU. So the European Union has obviously paid money to Poland, but what they have given up is their own people which have travelled away. That maybe seems like it's a little bit dramatic the way I'm phrasing it, but let's be clear. Out of those Polish that are living in Britain, how many are going to go home? You really think about that. How many are actually going to go home? Not many. How many of the Polish people that have moved to Britain have children here now? They go to school in Britain. Their first language is English, and their home language is often Polish. They're not going to go home. All those people that have left, or the vast majority of those people that have left Poland because of the opening of the floodgates, you've now lost them as a nation, but that applies to all of Eastern Europe. You no longer have them as part of your population. They're gone. They're ours now. They would say that themselves. They don't want to go back because the wages are too shit and the standard of living isn't high enough. I don't blame them. But the point being is the fucking price that these countries have had to pay for that money is actually quite extreme. But they don't have to pay that price, but they are paying that price. Now, from what I understand from, yet again, the comments I'm seeing as well from other videos, as well as my own observations, who's going to pay your pensions in 20 years? You have some young people left in Poland and a lot of old people. Who's going to pay your pensions? Who is going to keep your country ticking over when there's no one left? Because if there's nobody there producing babies and all you have is basically the old people left, or the older generation who are not producing babies, Poland's population is Poland and as well as Eastern Europe is already rapidly depopulating. That depopulation is going to get 10 times worse in 20 years. There's been a price. Trust me. Even I can see this shit sitting in Scotland.
Że oddajemy dużym, tym najsilniejszym państwom europejskim, bo to one, a nie my, decydują w Brukseli, bardzo znaczną część możliwości decydowania o naszych sprawach. Uzyskują potężną moc regulacyjną także wobec Polski. Ona ma wartość ekonomiczną i ma ogromną wartość polityczną. Nie dostajemy tego za darmo, można powiedzieć bardzo tanio kupują to od nas. Dlatego nie mamy powodów do wyrzutów sumienia. Natomiast mamy powody do tego, by bronić naszej suwerenności, by przeciwstawiać się niesłychanym wręcz wypowiedziom polityków europejskich z panem Schulzem na czele. Mamy prawo bronić się przed tą akcją dyfamacyjną, którą dzisiaj prowadzą śmiertelni wrogowie polscy. Ludzie oszaleli po prostu z nienawiści do naszego kraju, bo to jest przecież element tej samej akcji.
No, that's total bullshit. So first thing is wrong. The European Union leadership has a hatred towards your country, and not just your country, let's be fair, it's the Visegrad group. It's the Visegrad group. It's just right up. Poland, Slovakia, Croatia, Czech. Sorry, Czech. Told you, I only woke up a little while ago. In Poland, you're not playing the game. You're not doing what you're told. You're not being good little boys. The common people of Europe, they like yous. Most people are like me. Maybe don't say it, they maybe don't do YouTube videos, but they respect the fact that you guys are showing some backbone. Keep it up.
Mamy prawo i nieczynienie tego jest nie tylko hańbą, nie tylko skandalem, nie tylko wstydem, jest także wielkim błędem politycznym.
Check out that guy on the left. He's just like pimping.
Dziękuję bardzo.
So, Jaroslav Kaczynski. I thought it was actually a fantastic speech. I really enjoyed it. I actually really like him. He's like that. He's like a proper like nice old uncle type. Probably turns out he's a real bastard. Who probably corrupt like half of our politicians. But hey, man, on first appearances, just with this video, he comes across fantastic. But like I say, this is 2015. And I am honestly liking your politicians more and more. So yeah, it's interesting. The more I'm looking into this, the more I'm starting to find. Just yeah, I'm enjoying it. There's some very interesting politicians from over in Eastern Europe, and I want to do a video about this, but I don't know how to do it. I'm actually starting to think that it's not Poland, but the Visegrad group could be the one thing that actually saves the European Union. If they can kick Merkel into touch, give her a to the face, and start installing some sense at the top of Europe, this could be what saves it. But if Merkel, and let me stress, I say Merkel, but now they're getting ready to replace Merkel with Macron. He's going to become the new European leader. The face of Europe, Macron, who sleeps with somebody that's old enough that it could be classed as necrophilia, but we're not going to talk about that. And he has a penchant for cocaine. It was in one of the emails that it was at the leak just before he got elected, and it was the feminine use of the la coca, which I thought was quite amusing. I don't blame him. I like a dab myself, but yeah. Oh God, lots of guests arriving. Shopping's happening. Yeah. So that's my 2 pence on it. But yeah, it's just what a guy, man. Jaroslav Kaczynski. Draft that man. We need him in Britain. Anyway, hit subscribe. Have a good one. Catch you later.